guys, welcome back to day 5 of my Advent box wrapping series. I am starting out with more of that tissue paper that you've probably seen from day 2. It's just kind of like faded book pages, and I'm going to use it to cover this tree. This is just a chipboard tree. I'm going to cover it in some Avery glue stick and then stick it right down on that paper. And then I'm going to go about cutting the tissue paper, cutting it down so that it matches the die cut or the chipboard underneath. Now, originally I thought this would be fairly easy, but the paper kept ripping, so I use a combination here of cutting / tearing the paper away. It made a huge mess and it was not as easy as I expected it to be, but in the end I think it turned out pretty good. And something that I tried to keep in mind as well is that this is just to wrap a present. It's not going to live forever somewhere. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just something to make it look pretty really quick. So if you are one of those people who is a bit of a perfectionist, especially when it comes to creating really beautifully wrapped gifts and things, keep in mind that a lot of what you are creating will very possibly get thrown away by the recipient. So don't really focus too much on making it perfect. It's going to be really hard for you to see in this video, but in person this tree is definitely not perfect. There are places where you can see the chipboard where the tissue paper didn't cover, or I cut it or tore it a little too hastily and it ripped. But I'm not gonna worry too much about that. It's gonna add to the rustic look. I'm gonna leave it at that. So to attach this tree to the box, I'm going to secure some yarn to the back and then just wrap it around and around and around and around and crisscrossing. And I want this to kind of look a little bit like those bulletin boards where you can slip papers and pictures and things in between the ribbon. And that's actually what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to take a bunch of different pieces of chipboard or cutouts or little project life cards and stick them in between the layers of yarn. So of course the first thing that I'll need to stick on there is the number of the day, which is 5. I do use, I believe, Aleene's for this particular project because I'm sticking paper to paper. However, I do end up using hot glue on some of my future wrappings that I do, and it just made it so much faster and easier. Aleene's is going to have a more permanent hold later on. It's going to stick. So when I did start using hot glue in some of my later projects, I did worry about it coming apart when it shipped. Luckily, everything shipped and made it well, and nothing came apart as far as I know. But that is kind of the thing with hot glue. It is a bit of a temporary solution, and over time it does break down, especially if something's going to be jostled quite a bit, it will come apart. So I'm just playing around with placement here, seeing what works and what doesn't. I really wanted to use the wreath and the deer, and I had that project life card that said, "Oh, what fun," and I try and use it in a bunch of different wrappings throughout the month, but what you'll find is that it just has like a weird red. The red doesn't really coordinate with all the other reds that I use. So I switch it out and I go with one of these chipboard pieces that came from the same collection as that wreath. It's that huge chipboard sheet that you'll see me pull out a lot of times during the month, that coordinates with most of the pieces that I'm using. It's more of a muted rustic red than a bright red, and that Project Life card is bright red. I love that card, but I just can never seem to find a use for it. I'm just going to glue everything down to make sure that it is secure. And then after I have all my main pieces there, I'm going to just start adding some details, which is going to be some snowflakes. I have a little mini snowflake punch, and so you'll see a lot of little mini snowflakes throughout these videos as well. I think I punched, I don't know, 200-300 of them in various colors and patterns. so I try and use them up quite a bit throughout the month. Oh, and then it looks like I'm also going to use some stickles, maybe? Maybe not? Maybe I thought about it and then didn't. It's been a while since I filmed this. So there we go. I'm going to add some snowflakes all over the place. Some vellum snowflakes, some red snowflakes, just to kind of dress up that tree. So I hope you guys are enjoying the series. I am going to show you some close-ups here in a moment. I hope you'll come back the rest of the month to see more of the items that I have wrapped, and I hope it inspires you for wrapping some of your Christmas items this year. Have a happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next video.